Here we go.
Somebody trying to be busy, but it ain't happening over here. We
Woo.
back, y'all. I don't know
Yo,
what's going
how
on.
we had a power outage?
Oh,
Craziness.
man. Anyway, welcome to Root Access Live. It is first Thursday, y'all. Welcome. We are your hosts. I'm your girl Co. Got Mr. Root here. He's back with us. And we got my boy Jinx. Appreciate y'all pulling up on us tonight. Appreciate y'all. I
Yes,
need y'all to
sir.
go ahead and hit the share and the like button for us. Invite all your friends right now to join us right here, right now. Facebook Live and YouTube Live, because we got a hot show for y'all tonight, just as we do each and every time y'all see these faces. So much to talk about tonight. We can't even afford company, y'all. But I hope all is well. Everybody's good.
Good.
We
Ready to
good.
go.
Aside from the
Well,
power
y'all
outage.
know, as everybody know, it is Black History Month. Happy Black History Month to you. Black History Month is an annual observance originated in the United States, where it is also known as African American History Month. It has received its official recognition from governments in the United States, and it is at these times where we pay tribute and homage to the generations of African Americans who struggled with adversity to achieve full citizenship in American history. Those like Garrett Morgan or Harriet Tubman, Dr. King, and Maya Angelou, and many more. But it was Carter G. Woodson, the father of Black history, who first set out in 1926 to designate a time to promote and educate people about our history and our culture. So many times we complain about Black History Month being, held in the shortest month or giving us only 28, sometimes 29 days to celebrate or commemorate. But in all actuality, February was chosen because primarily the second week of the month coincides with the birthdays of both Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass. Now, President Lincoln was influential in the emancipation of the slaves, and Frederick Douglass was a former slave, and he was prominent leader in the abolitionist movement, which fought to end slavery. So, in honor of Black History Month, we decided to represent by wearing our heritage. Now, as you can see, some of us, everybody doesn't understand the assignment. They like to play around and play in my face. But the shirt that I have on now, I do want to highlight this. The shirt that I have on now, it says "We Rise." I can't stand up in my studio right at this second, but it is an HBU. It was from the HBCU Design Challenge. And the guy who won this challenge, his name was Trey. So in this challenge, it is a design competition in which students from HBCUs, um, they submit designs for target celebration of Black History Month, and whoever wins gets to display their art. So I definitely want to give a big shout out to the young man Trey. And not that I'm sad that I'm reading this, however, I wish
Oh,
it was
okay.
something from Keandria Lockhart's.
Thank you. No,
Uh, what?
Keandra Lockett.
Keandre Lockett. I'm sorry. I wish it was something from her line where I learned from the root rundown that she did have something, and I said I was going to get something, but she didn't
And she's
have
in Target as
anything.
well. Yeah.
Yeah, she didn't have anything in my size, so I couldn't get anything. But definitely, when I find something, I'm definitely going to purchase it. So happy Black History Month, everybody! But we got work to do, y'all. We got some hot topics for y'all tonight. We just gonna get right into it. I don't know where you've been if you ain't heard this story, but Whoopi Goldberg has been suspended from ABC's The View for 2 whole weeks after she came under fire for saying that the Holocaust was not about race. Now, on Monday, she made comments during an episode of the talk show as she and her other hosts were discussing a Holocaust centered graphic novel. Was it Moss? But it was banned by a Tennessee school board, becoming, just one of the latest lengthy list of books in the history. But I mean, the real thing is, are we standing with Whoopi? Was she wrong? How do you feel about it? I mean, there is lots of talk, lots of opinions, lots of facts, and lots of statements coming from everybody. I mean, me personally, I don't think she should have got suspended. First of all, the show is called The View. So if that's my view, then how can you suspend me? I mean, maybe you can pull me to the side and say, "Hey, Whoopi, I didn't like that you said this, that, and the third." But I can't suspend you. It's The View.
Many people have, again, for the past 25 years, had their view on the view. Way worse
Right.
than this, and they have remained. This is just a case of not upsetting the Jews who run pretty much everything. They run all of entertainment. Same, if we can remember back, I believe last year, Nick Cannon, same thing. He had made a statement about the Jews and the Jewish culture, and he
Cancel.
was almost canceled. Yeah. The thing about him though, he did apologize. But the thing is, the people, they didn't bring him back because, oh, we love you, Nick. Thank you for apologizing. We bringing you back. No, they brought him back because Nick Cannon equals dollars. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So these we have to realize how much these people need us. Like Whoopi Goldberg does not need the View. The View needs Whoopi
At all.
Goldberg, and I feel
Right.
like at this point she should quit because how dare you suspend me after I apologize? Clearly, if and we're going to show it in a minute, but clearly you know when somebody's being malignant, you know when somebody's being malicious,
Facetious.
and you know the spirit of somebody. She didn't mean it in the manner which they're trying to say. You know what I
Right.
mean? So again, because all right, y'all already came to me and said to apologize. I understood the error of my ways. I apologize. We move on. But now you want to send out this letter, and the letter, even the letter, wasn't even kind. I decided to suspend. I'm suspending Whoopi for 2 weeks. Like, what is this? Preschool? Is this
Right.
junior
Right.
high?
Right.
Like, I'm suspending you for 2 weeks? No, no. She should leave, and there should be a mass exit mass exit, not just from her, but some of her co-hosts.
Yeah, because I
So
mean, the reaction was definitely blown out of proportion. I think she was just trying to make a point. That's all, not being racist or, like you said, coming from a malicious place.
Yeah.
for those of you who didn't see it, right, we're getting ready to play it. These rights are reserved to ABC. What we're getting ready to play, but you'll see, you'll hear it, and we'll let you be the judge. I'll reserve my comments until after we hear this. Um, so let's see what we got here.
Yeah, I think she was really just trying to make a point. Let's hear it and see how y'all feel. Blown out, way
Been
out of
suspending
proportion.
Whoopi Goldberg for 2 weeks for her wrong and hurtful comments. While Whoopi has apologized, I've asked her to take time to reflect and learn about the impact of her comments. The entire ABC News organization stands in solidarity with our Jewish colleagues, friends, family, and communities.
If you're going to do this, then let's be truthful about it because the Holocaust isn't about race.
On Monday's show, the host of ABC's The View inaccurately claimed the Holocaust was not related to race.
It's not about race. It's not about
Well,
race.
what is it about?
Because it's about man's inhumanity to man. That's what it's about. Whoopi Goldberg.
Goldberg appearing to double down on the Colbert Show that night.
The American experience tends to be based on skin.
Yes. And so that is what race means to me.
Mm-hmm.
When you talk about being a racist, I was saying you can't call this racism. This was evil. Mm-hmm. This wasn't based on the skin. You couldn't tell who was Jewish. Mm-hmm. They had to delve deeply to figure it out.
Then tweeting an apology, saying in part, the Jewish people around the world have always had my support, and that will never waver. I'm sorry for the hurt I have caused. And the next day, opening The View with this.
I said that the Holocaust wasn't about race, and it was instead about man's inhumanity to man. But it is indeed about race, because Hitler and the Nazis considered Jews to be an inferior race. Now, words matter, and mine are no exception. I regret my comments, as I said, and I stand corrected. I also stand with the Jewish people, as they know and y'all know, because I've always done that.
By the end of the Holocaust, just 77 years
So
ago,
we
6
can end
million
this. Again, personally, I am one that is. I try to look at the whole situation prior to making a judgment call. Now, I didn't see the episode live, but I have watched the video a couple different times, and I know that Whoopi was she was very convicted about her stance prior to coming out with the apology. I can imagine what made her apologize, but I think what Whoopi was trying to say, and I believe intent matters in some cases. What I think what Whoopi was trying to say is that I don't believe she was trying to say that the Jewish culture is not a race. That's not what I think she was trying to say.
Right.
What I think she was trying to say was the Holocaust was not about a race, but it was about Hitler being inhumane. I think she was trying to drive home that that was the focal point as opposed to who it targeted, because she mentioned that you couldn't tell whether a person was Jewish or not,
Right.
Right.
which I believe is a very valid point, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we walk down the street and we don't see specific garb, we will
Right.
not know if a person is Jewish or not.
That is correct.
There is no skin color that denotes the fact that you are a Jew, right?
Correct.
We don't know that from the standpoint of or in comparison or conversely to someone who is a minority. We know if you're a minority because we can look at you and tell, right? And so
Right.
that's the point that I believe she was making. Do I think her words were so egregious that she should be suspended? No, because
No.
she did not defame or come off
Right.
derogatory
Right.
to the Jewish community. She did
Right.
not say that this has nothing to do or that the Jewish community is XYZ. She never said that. She just
Right.
simply tried to make her point that it was more so about the man who was inhumane than it was about the people who were affected.
Against
Um,
man. Right.
Again, she can say, she can apologize for it, because I okay, if you want to say that I offended you, I can eat that. I got you. I apologize.
I apologize.
But to be suspended on the grounds that she defamed or disrespected the Jewish community, that's the part that I don't understand. And
Yeah.
so that's why I don't think it okay, if she was going to be suspended, I needed a different reason. The reasoning for the suspension doesn't doesn't make sense to me.
And
No.
again, like I said, it's called The View.
It's called The
That's
View.
true as
So,
well.
that reaction that The View gave was such a contradiction in and that's my view.
Yeah. And this is merely a power trip. That's all this is, man. Like I can't stress enough how the Jewish community, they run the entertainment industry, from music to media to everything. They run it. They run it.
Right.
So if someone's feathers is ruffled up top, they want to make a statement like they did with Nick Cannon. No, you gonna get out there. You want to say this stuff? No, no, no. You work for Viacom. You gonna
Right.
get out there. You work for Fox. We run this. You're not going to offend us in any way, shape, or form. You get out there, little boy, and you apologize. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? And this is what they're trying to do to Whoopi. But Whoopi, an OG in the game, she almost 70 years old. She does not need The View. This is a little extra cash for her. This is whatever. She's an
It's
EGOT.
fun. It's a
She don't
hobby.
need it. She don't need this. And like Jinx said in our pre-meeting, I guarantee you, if she does quit, she will have another opportunity within a matter of days.
But
So
not only
listen,
that, their ABC or The View, everybody who's home, that's daytime TV. That's prime time. Everybody, I don't know how many viewers they have, but they have too many viewers. How many people just watch because of Whoopi? Now she
yeah,
gone for 2 weeks, and if she take all her viewers or followers
That's
with
10
her,
episodes.
that's a problem.
it's 10
That's
That's
10
episodes.
a problem.
episodes.
And they're live. It's not like they're pre-recorded. It's a live show.
Yeah,
So she
yeah,
takes all of her people, her followers or viewers with her for 2 weeks. Do you know how much they're going to lose? And at
yeah.
this point, I heard, I don't even know if it's true or not, but there's speculations that she might even quit for real.
No, that's what we are saying. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
saying she may quit.
So,
That's what's out there.
the View is going to be in trouble if that is the case. That's all I'm gonna say. Like I said, millions of viewers watch that daily. Like, don't miss a show. Like, it's a staple. Those names, even with Sunny and Joy, love both of them.
Thank you, Ephraim. They are willing to, please post that.
You
They
think
are
they
willing
willing
to
to eat it
eat
to
it
prove
to
a point?
prove a point. They are.
They
They
gonna miss
don't
out. They
care.
gonna
They got
miss
more
out.
shows. They would do that
They
just
will.
to just to prove a point. Just to prove a point. So we are going to follow this story. I'm very curious to see what's going to happen in the coming weeks. But it's really messed up, man.
It
Because
really
Megan,
is.
I watched it. I watched the View pretty much every day. And Megan McCain, when she was on there, every other day she was offending somebody. She
Saying
was
something.
nasty. And she never got suspended. This is bullcrap. And then for it to happen on the first day of Black History Month, no way.
Right. Like Vinny said, they're trying to control her. Like your boy said, they're trying to prove a point. It like you
I,
said, this is another story we got to follow up on. I got to look at my list too because we need to come back to some things, Hassan. I remember that we had to come back to some. I can't remember what it was, but moving right along, I know this right up Jinx alley. You definitely got to take the floor on this one. Brian Flores, he's suing the NFL for racist hiring practices, and the text messages from Bill Belichick congratulating him. But again, if you haven't been in football or if you haven't been keeping up, Brian Flores is a football coach. He started his career with the New England Patriots, where he was like an assistant coach for 10 years. And then he moved on to the Miami Dolphins. And now he's been fired. So he has all these allegations stirring up, and it's just a whole mess. Why
I
you
got
got your
you.
face frowned?
So, so this story is a very interesting story, because the NFL is the epitome of America, right? This is like the what America really is, right? It's we get rich off of 70% of a culture,
Mm,
and yet don't want to promote that culture. Um, the NFL is 70% black, right? The players, and I'm stating facts. I, I I deal in truth, and I want you all to know that you can fact check me, and you'll find what I'm saying is factual. The NFL is 70% African American, not 70% minority. It is 70% African
Right.
American. The
Wait,
other
hold on. Is that
30%,
players and coaches or
no. This is players. I'm speaking
There's
specific
one
players.
black coach.
That was the next
okay?
point. Great question, Coco. For clarity, great question. The NFL is 70% is made up of 70% of their players are black. This is not minority. The other 30% is are all other races. Okay. Now there is one black coach. I'm sorry, one black head coach in the National
Okay.
Football League, and he coaches the Pittsburgh Steelers. His name is Mike Thomas. Right.
Mike Tom.
So the problem that Brian Flores has is that black coaches in the NFL do not get a fair opportunity to become the leaders of a program. They don't get the chance to become leaders of a team. Here, furthermore, hence the reason of what's called the Rooney Rule. The Rooney Rule was established because teams would not even consider black coaches for their coaching vacancies. So the NFL came out with a Rooney Rule. The Rooney Rule, in the spirit of which it was not written just for you to say, "Oh, I interviewed a black coach, so let me bypass that. Let me check
Correct.
that box and let me go hire who I want to hire." The Rooney Rule, in the spirit in which it was written, was you are literally interviewing a candidate who you feel is capable of running your program, of running your team. Not, oh, let me just hold an interview, ask him a few questions, and be able to say, oh yeah, I interviewed a black guy, so let me go interview who I want to interview. So
Mm,
the fact that the NFL needs to have this as a rule shows you that there's a systematic problem,
That's
because
right.
they are the only professional sports league that has such a rule. That's
Yep.
first and foremost.
That's a red flag right there. No pun
Absolutely.
intended.
Secondly, and by the way, we have video of of everything that Brian Flores is standing for, and we have record of it. We have video of it, and we're going to show you after my rant. Secondly, we have an issue because we know that there's a backdoor club in the NFL.
Come on.
We know that conversations are had prior to it coming to the forefront.
right.
Well, Brian Flores was unjustly fired from the Miami Dolphins after having two winning seasons. Let's talk about that.
I'm about to say, because he's a freaking good coach.
Secondly, when this past season, or this current season, we're not out of it yet because the Super Bowl is next Sunday. So the current season that we're in right now, the Dolphins owner allegedly, we'll say allegedly, goes to Brian and says, listen, we're obviously not in a position to make the playoffs. We need more talent.
Right.
And the only way that we're going to be able to get more talent is if we have a high draft pick. And whether you understand this is not about sports, let me give you some information. In order for you to have a high draft pick, you have to have a losing record.
Mm-hmm.
So when the Dolphins were 1-7, when they were 1-7, the owner of the Dolphins allegedly, according to Brian Flores, goes to Brian and says, Brian, at this point, there's no need to win. And I know this is
throw the
tough.
season.
I know this is tough.
Okay,
I need you to throw the season.
Okay, that's where it came in at.
But let me sweeten the deal for you, because I'm willing to give you $100,000 per loss.
Per loss.
Yep.
I got you. You already make millions of dollars per year, but let me give you a per game incentive for you to throw these games. Let me give you $100,000 per loss. Brian Flores allegedly says to him, I'm a man of integrity, and I owe it to every single man in this locker room and who works for this organization to do what I can to make sure that we have a winning team. Brian Flores led the Dolphins to make NFL history because there has never been a team to start 1-7 and win their final 8 games to end the season 9-7.
That's right.
It's never happened. It's never happened. So for Brian Flores to be fired after such a successful season
doesn't make sense.
Bonkers. It's bonkers.
So let me ask you this: why?
I'm gonna let you come, but I gotta keep going. If I don't get it out, you know how I am.
That's
Koko.
right.
Let me keep this going because I got to give you the whole information. Then he says, "Okay, I was unjustly fired, but I know there are about 8 head coaching vacancies that have come up since the regular season has ended. I'm sure I'll get one of them." So he goes and he interviews with the Giants. He interviews with the Texans. He interviews with the Saints. Now, this is where it gets tricky. Remember, about 4 minutes ago, I said that we know that there is a backdoor club where we know things happen secretly before they come out publicly.
Right.
Well, Bill Belichick, Koko, you mentioned that Brian Flores was an assistant coach with the Patriots for 10 years.
Right.
His boss was Bill Belichick.
Right.
Brian Flores also coached with a man by the name of Brian Dable, also with the Patriots. Bill Belichick, Brian Dable, Brian Flores on the same staff. Brian Dable, he was the offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills. After the Buffalo Bills had a phenomenal season these past 2 years, Brian Dable's name comes up as a head coach candidate. Nobody has a problem with that because Dable's the man. He's legit. Let me be honest with you. Let me tell you right now, this is not an indictment on Brian Dable's ability to coach because he's a phenomenal coach. He changed the offense of the Buffalo Bills. When it was trash, now it's top 5 in the league because of Brian Dable. We're not going to discredit that man. He can coach. He is Caucasian. Let me put that out there. He can coach.
We ain't heard nothing about the Bills since OJ.
Hello? And then Brian Dable comes, change that offense around, boom, we popping. Nobody's doubting the fact that Dable deserves a head coaching opportunity. The problem with this is Bill Belichick is texting Brian Flores thinking that he's texting Brian Dable. How
many times do we do this?
This is very interesting now.
Very interesting.
Because Bill Belichick, and I'm going to go to it because I'm going to tell you verbatim what it says. Bill Belichick, he texts Brian Flores and says, "Sounds like you landed. You landed. Congrats." Brian Flores responds, "Did you hear something I didn't hear?" Bill Belichick responds, "Giants," with exclamation points and question marks. Brian Flores says, "I interview on Thursday."
Didn't even interview yet.
I think I have a shot at
it. Interview him yet.
He was supposed to interview today. He
says, "I interview on Thursday. I think I have a shot at it." Bill Belichick's responds and says, "Got it. I hear from Buffalo and the New York Giants that you're their guy.
You're their
I
guy.
hope it works out for you if you want it to. Brian Flores says, that's definitely what I want, and I hope you're right, coach. Thank you. And then a light bulb goes off to Brian Flores. He says, wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
He texts Bill Belichick and he says, Coach,
Is this
are
Flores?
you talking to Brian Flores or Brian Dable? Just making sure. Bill Belichick says, sorry, I expletive up.
I effed up.
He said, I double checked and I misread the text. I think they're naming Dable the coach. I'm sorry about that. Then Brian Flores responds,
Thanks, Bill.
thanks, Bill.
He not coach no more.
Not even coach.
Now, if you can't tell me that speaks to a problem, watch this. The Giants knew that they were going to hire Dable, but they had to satisfy the Rooney Rule, which meant they had to bring in a black coach to interview him with no intention of hiring him because they already knew that they were going to hire Brian Dable.
Fake affirmative action.
Here's the problem with this. Brian also, and I'm going to completely digress because we got other people on the show. This is why y'all need to tune in to Sports Talks with Jinx. But I'm telling you, here's another issue. Back in 2019, Brian Flores interviewed for the Denver Broncos job. Brian, he shows up to the interview, and he's waiting there for an hour. The Broncos don't text him, don't call him, tell him, again, allegedly, they never tell him that he's running late. They never tell him that they're running late. They come, and he says, according to Brian Flores,
Elway and the boys.
He says John Elway and some other people from the executive staff show up late, disheveled, and drunk.
Oh,
sipping on the scissor.
And never asked him real interview questions. And these are Brian Flores' exact words. He calls them sham interviews. He says the interviews are shams.
Yep.
Now, I'm trying to tell you that Brian Flores is sick of it. He took a stand. He took a stand and he said, I'm suing the Dolphins, the Giants, and the Broncos. I'm suing all three of those organizations. And I'm suing the NFL. Here's the issue. The NFL does not govern or does not mandate who these teams hire. That is not a Roger Goodell thing. So that's Roger Goodell and the NFL's way out. We don't have hands on who the teams hire, but the general managers do. The general managers do. The team owners do. And that's the issue that we have. Well, I'm done after this. There's another black coach by the name of Hugh Jackson. Hugh Jackson was the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. Hugh Jackson has the worst record of any head coach in NFL history.
Like ever?
Like ever.
Ever.
He went 1-31. Watch this. He went 1-31, but yet gets a third contract extension. Why? Why does he get a third contract extension? You know why? Because while he was going 1-31 or 1-31, allegedly the Browns wrote him a check for $750,000 for tanking. So
this is crazy.
This is a problem.
This is bad.
And this lawsuit has become a class action lawsuit. All of this, and Brian Flores is still a top candidate for two jobs that he's interviewing for, the Saints and the Houston Texans. Go figure. I know y'all got something to say. We want to play the video. Yes, that's what I said too, Brian. That's what I said too.
Yeah, he drank Kool-Aid.
Like Hugh done drank Kool-Aid.
Troy Vincent is a really good friend of mine. I wish I can have him on this show, but I'm sure he can't.
I know Troy Vincent's wife. He used to work on my parents. She used to work on my parents' ice cream truck. Tommy.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know he's the president of player engagement for the NFL. He is a former NFL player, of course.
Bird gang.
And I wish, yeah, I wish we could have him on, but I'm sure he can't say but so much. But this is crazy, man. There's not enough of this being talked about even in the media. This is a travesty with Brian Flores. It's like a joke. But again, we need, like we say this stuff all the time. We need to start our own leagues, man. With it, like we hold the keys to all of this. None of this works without us.
We already
This
said 70%.
entertainment, this music, this media, this sports, it doesn't work without us. It doesn't. And if we can just, I don't know, man. It's crazy. Just play the video.
Let's go. Let's play the video.
70%, Haas. That's what he said. You're right.
70%.
You're gonna hear. You're
You
gonna
must
hear
learn the power of community.
Cemented.
That's perfect.
Here we
Yeah.
go. Now this is a little bit lengthy, but I want you all to understand. We have to play this so that you really understand what's going on here. Here we go.
That's right, V.
Your decision. You say you were back and forth. Mm-hmm. What got you over that hump?
Well, it was a text message from Bill Belichick that confirmed a lot of the things that I believed were going on for blacks, minorities in the hiring process. That interviews that blacks and minorities were going on were, we weren't getting a true opportunity in those interviews to showcase our abilities, and me personally to showcase my abilities. So to walk into an interview where a decision's already been made, that was the tipping point for me.
It's interesting that Bill will be in the know to that degree. Why do you think that is?
Again, I do think that there are back channel conversations, back channel meetings that are had that oftentimes influence decisions, and I think that's a clear example of that. Here's Bill Belichick, and his resume speaks for itself. He has influence. So I think to me that it was clear that decision was made with his influence, and that's part of the problem, and that needs to change. There needs to be a fair and equal opportunity to interview and showcase, like I said before, showcase your abilities to lead and earn one of those positions.
And what you're doing is so monumental. I commend you. You're the first discrimination lawsuit in 100+ year history of the league. Yet I've been hearing about these kind of discrimination acts for over 20 years now. And that's just since I can first be aware of it.
From a football standpoint, I'm gifted in this. I love coaching. But to speak out, to file a lawsuit, put something that I'm so passionate about, that I know I've made an impact as a coach, as a leader, on young players. It puts all that in jeopardy, and a lot of people aren't willing to do that. But again, I'm not thinking about me. I'm thinking about those other coaches who don't feel like they have this voice, and that younger generation that needs to see more people that look like them in head coaching, GM positions of power.
So Colin Kaepernick spoke out about police brutality, and he was essentially blackballed. Do you think he'll be blackballed from the NFL?
I hope not. But if there's significant change, if I never coach again, but there's significant change, it'll be worth it. It'll be worth it, in my opinion.
Wow. I mean, was that not powerful or what? Like
That was powerful, man.
It really was.
I believe that was one of the most powerful videos that we've ever shown, as it relates to Root Access Live. I really do. I believe that seeing this, understanding this, that this is so much beyond football. This
Beyond football.
a systematic problem. This is again, this is critical race theory at its best, which denotes that there are systematic loopholes, or not loopholes, but hoops that those who are minorities have to jump through. And it's systematic. There is just something that we as African Americans and minorities have to deal with, that our Caucasian brothers and sisters do not have to go through. This is not happening for those who are not of the darker persuasion. It is only happening to those who are of the darker persuasion. And the fact that there's only maybe 2 or 3 African American general managers. The New York Giants, and I'm gonna stop on this because I know that's your team root, and I don't want to go too hard on your team, but I'm telling you, the New York Giants have never had a black coach in the history of their team.
Nope.
They had a black GM. I will give them credit for that, but they've never had a black coach. Here's my problem: Louis Riddick, who is a Monday Night Football analyst, but spent 7 or 8 years in the NFL head office as a player personnel individual. He knows this league. He knows talent. He knows how to be a GM. This is my problem with the New York Giants. Before you all hired Dave Gettleman, who was the last GM who just quit, Louis Riddick was a finalist for that job before you hired Dave Gettleman. Dave Gettleman quits. You don't even call Louis Riddick for an interview? How was he a finalist 3 or 4 years ago, and yet you don't even call the guy back who would have been the guy if it wasn't Gettleman? Because you don't want to.
Jinx could stay here all day, guys. Just so y'all know.
You don't want to. You don't want to see it. You just want us to play and make you money, but you don't want us to have decisions to make power. You don't want us to have the power to make decisions.
Yeah. And then I want to end off on this note as well. It's bigger than sports. They want, because remember years ago, Jinx, it was a thing. We didn't have a whole lot of black quarterbacks. Remember that? And that was because, black men aren't smart enough to be a quarterback. So we're going to use them as the workhorses. They're going to get hit. All of this stuff is systematic, man. And it has to be, we have to know our worth. I know the money's being thrown at us, and a lot of times, you thinking because you got the money that you're successful and all of that. But at what cost? You know what I'm saying? We have to know that we hold the power of all of this stuff. And I'm so glad that Brian Flores because this is a risky move, man. He can be blackballed. Absolutely. Chances are he will be blackballed. But, he is an agent for change by doing this, like Kaepernick. Somebody got to be the sacrificial lamb. They were looking at Kaepernick like he was crazy because he's the first one to be bold enough to do it. But again, why can't I take a knee for something I believe in? Exactly. Come on. Like you said, 70% African American. It should have been more people standing with Kaepernick. But again,
it won't even be a league.
They do this. Yeah, man. So we have to know our worth, man. We have to know our worth. So I know we spend a lot of time on that, but it's bigger than sports. It's bigger than sports, man. It's about humanity.
And even looking at his face, you can tell he feel like they just smack. Like y'all just playing in my face. Like you gonna call me and say thank you. Like I didn't even interview yet. Like that was a slap in the face.
That's the most powerful part about it. I ain't even interview yet.
I didn't interview yet.
Are you telling me they're gonna hire Brian Dable?
Right. And I know it was hard for him to throw like Belichick under the bus, but you know what I'm saying? He had to do it.
He had to.
And that had to happen. And how many times has that happened? You texting somebody, you in the wrong group chat, you texting the wrong Kelvin, or you know what I'm saying? It happened. So it was an honest mistake, and Bill and they'll know what if Flores ain't say what he said, he would have kept going. Because
Right.
in his mind, he was talking to DB, to
Yep.
BD.
Yeah.
Yep. Crazy.
Wow.
Crazy.
Yeah. Well, I'm really, really sorry that he is going through this. And I was just trying to I Jinx, you got to give us more on this and where we can find, because I honestly didn't know nothing about it. I heard like bits and pieces, and I'm wondering like, well, if they offered $100,000 this season, why is he just saying it now? Because he got fired? Like, I was trying to figure it
You're
all
right,
out.
Brian.
So
You're
I
right. He
mean,
down with it.
appreciate you
That's
for
the
putting
other
that
side of
together,
it
for
right
get that
there.
bill. Yeah, I I guess that's
Because
something for
because what
that's
Bill
going to
just
spend the block.
confirmed.
I had to spend the block on that one too, because as the interviewer was saying, like, this is monumental. We're gonna have to spend the block on this one, because that's gonna come back and it's gonna be something. And I like his attitude. Whether I'm coaching or not, I hope that something is done. I love that part.
My last point on
Yeah.
this, and then we'll move. What Brian Flores said when Bill Belichick sent that text, it all that did was simply confirm
They
what we
confirmed.
thought all along.
Yep.
Like you
Yep.
said, what you said, those back meetings or side
The back
meetings,
channel meetings
Yeah.
that's exactly what he confirmed.
just confirmed it.
Yeah.
But
No greater source can confirm that. It's Bill Belichick.
very, very sad. But like you said a few minutes ago, the big game is coming up. I'm not sure when we say it here, or I think I'm at IMG.
No, we can still we say the big game. We ain't giving them no extra
Oh,
props.
all
The
right.
big game.
So
Big game.
it's coming February 13th, and there are going to be some good performances. We got some Mickey Guyton, we got Janae Aiko, and we got Mary, who's going to be performing. And the reason that I'm telling y'all about Mary, I wonder what y'all say. Well, why is it so significant that y'all are talking about Mary and singing at the big game? They're going to sit there every voice and sing. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, this is the first time a gospel artist has sang their voice and sang at the big game, or is this the first time a gospel artist has sang period at the big game?
If my memory serves me correctly, man, this is the first time a gospel artist has sung period at the big game. Not even Kirk Franklin has performed at the Super Bowl. So this is a big deal. It's really a bigger deal because Mary, they're from Inglewood, California, and that's where the
Oh,
game is being played. So it's very significant in that realm as well. So shout out to the girls, Erica and Tina, man. I'm so proud of these young ladies. This is a big deal. You talking almost probably a billion people watching this game. This is
right.
the
Watch.
most watched event in history ever, every year. So, to have a gospel artist, sing the Black National Anthem during Black History Month at the big game is huge. And it just goes back to what I was saying about us. It's black magic, man. Everything from the halftime show. Like none of this stuff runs without us. The halftime show is going to be a movie within itself. Like outside of Eminem, everybody black, and he almost black anyway,
I bet
because
that
hip
list
hop
includes like
was
Dr.
started
Dre.
by blacks. So
Right.
listen, man, it's black magic. Shout out to Mary. This is a huge deal. This is a huge deal. Just for black people, for gospel music. So yeah, man, happy for them. Happy for
history
them.
will history is being made, and I'm glad to share it with them. And it's crazy because I usually don't even like I tune into the game, but it's always like after like the first half is over. Like I'm at halftime, so I'm definitely gonna have to tune in so I can watch this. But I can't wait to halftime. My girl is going to be performing.
Who? MJB?
JB, yes, all day. I
Yeah,
can't
it's gonna
wait.
be crazy. It's gonna be
Yeah, that's
crazy.
gonna be crazy. So anyway, while we on football, we gonna touch on this real quick. Real quick. The Washington football team.
They little league
Now,
mascot.
I they changed their name about what 2 years ago. Was it
Little
2 years
league.
ago?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway,
they could have just gave this name 2 years ago. Like we waited all of this time.
for all this time to come up with the Washington Commanders. So anyway, y'all, the football team is the Washington Commanders. Salute to them, I guess. I don't know. That just sounds so terrible. whatever. I don't even want to give this anyway. Let's move right along.
Next.
Janet Jackson. I'm waiting for. Now, y'all know she has this documentary. It is a 4-part TV documentary from Lifetime and I believe A&E that shows how the pop star became the biggest and most influential artist of the last probably 3-4 decades. They show interviews with never seen. Don't get your pen out. I know how you do, but never before seen footage. And it documents like her personal struggles and controversies, the malfunction at the Super Bowl in 2004 with Justin Timberlake. But this documentary has 18.7 million viewers on 2 networks. That is significant.
Yeah, like Koko said, it's a 4-part documentary. It aired last Friday and Saturday. And if you missed it, you can catch it tomorrow, all 4 parts, tomorrow, starting at 8:00. It was
Are you
on
getting
Lifetime.
money for promoting this?
Listen, don't worry about all of that. Don't worry about all of that.
For 2 weeks.
Listen, don't worry about that and stop being a hater. Stop being like my wife and stop being like Vini. Can I finish my story?
Go ahead, Kyle.
Thank you. You a hater, yo.
We gonna get back.
Yeah,
to
it was
that.
Lifetime's most watched nonfiction show since Surviving R. Kelly. And to give you a scope of the numbers, Surviving R. Kelly had almost like 4 million people. So she like almost quadrupled that. All right, and that was 3 years ago.
Was
the
it?
documentary? Yeah, it was 3 years ago. Time is flying. Time waits for no man. So I mean, this is huge because again, guys, hardly anybody, especially the youth of today, they don't watch network TV. My daughter doesn't even have a TV in her room. She gave us the TV. I don't want the TV. Why? Because they're watching everything on their phones. They're watching Netflix, Hulu, everything else, YouTube. A lot of people don't watch network TV anymore. So for 15 million people to watch, something on network TV, a documentary, that's equivalent to like, 45 million people watching it, 10 years ago. So this is a big thing. And then on the flip side, her music is all in the top 20 right now. All of the albums from Control, every last album is, number 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 12. It's just Janet Jackson mania. And so get with it. If you didn't see it, you can see it tomorrow and download the music too. And I'm sure a tour is cooking up as well, and I'll be there. The end.
I just decided that I would leave this comment up because I thought this comment was extremely funny to me. Because when Koko first mentioned Janet Jackson's name, there was this big smile that came over my brother Root's face. I just thought I would point that out. And
what Kim? She's sick of it. Kim is.
He walked off. He just walked.
No, I'm not walking off. I'm reading.
Wait. Okay. Oh my God. Ryan McKay. I'm not hating.
What are you guys saying?
Clearly nothing. Clearly,
right. Whatever we're saying does. But anyway.
Who's on that cover?
This is my vintage Vibe magazine from 1997.
I'm crying.
This magazine is about almost 25 years old.
Did y'all see? But this
is some money right here.
I can't stand.
All right, I'm done.
Are you done?
I'm done.
Okay.
Are you done or is you finished?
I'm done. So what? What's the next story?
So, all right, I guess we gonna go into some sad stuff now. Y'all want to talk about these officers being shot and killed at the Bridgewater College in Virginia? Like lately, there's been. This is maybe the second one I've heard about. Where 2 cops are getting shot on the campuses. Am I correct, or do y'all know anything?
No, I mean this is like the second one within 2 weeks. The first one, and there was other since, but the first one was in Harlem, where 2 officers were killed in a Harlem apartment. They went to There was like a domestic dispute between a mother and a son, and the son, pulled fire on both the officers, and they both, died within days apart, and they shot and killed the aggressor. But yeah, this is like an epidemic now, man, with these cops being shot, and this happened in Virginia at a small college in Virginia, and it's really really sad, man. Bridgewater College confirmed that his name was uh, Ashland Campbell, and they're saying that he was a former student
who had been banned from the campus.
And he shot two campus police officers who were so close that one of them was in the other's wedding as the best man, and they both succumbed to their injuries. But he's since been caught. But I mean, again, man, this is like tragic, and you hear stuff like this all the time. Whether people get fired from a job and then they go back to the job. That happened, over a decade ago here, like at the Nabisco plant. Somebody got fired from Nabisco and just went and just shot up the place and killed, like 10 people who worked there, innocent people, man. So for you to go back now and then shoot the officers, this is ridiculous, man. And it all goes back to gun control in this country. And who should have guns, right? Like, of course, it's and I know Jinx would definitely be on this because he has weapons. But again, the wrong people seem to have weapons. Like, everybody should not have a weapon and should not have access to a gun. It's so many people who are mentally challenged out here who are just walking around with guns and they can just do whatever. So we don't want to take people's guns. That's not what we're saying. But
I mean, we
not
kind of do,
everybody
though.
should have a gun. No,
We
no.
kind of do want to take. I mean, for those of us who are using them to protect and serve in the correct manner, yes, we want them to keep their guns, but we don't want stupid people with guns. So
that's my point. I said we're not trying to take everybody's guns. Right. That's what I'm saying.
And I mean that's just really, really sad and disheartening to hear. And while we're talking about them being on college campuses, in recent news, about 14 have been reported to have bomb threats as of Tuesday, the start of Black History Month. And let me tell you, I believe the first one was Delaware State University in the first state. So I don't know why
alma mater.
My alma mater, yes. Now I know there has been an investigation into bomb threats, and it is a high priority. But two suspects have been charged or caught in these threats. Now I'm not even sure why this is happening, and I'm really, really eager to know. Now, I've been listening to, I listen to multiple people on different platforms, and I heard something which I didn't think it was true, and I didn't even really think nothing of it. I thought it was just a joke, but they were screaming like, I hope this don't have nothing to do with Deion Sanders and such and such and such. I don't even know what happened to Deion Sanders, but is Deion Sanders that influential where he can have people calling to make bomb threats on colleges?
No, I don't think that's what they were saying.
Together for me. Oh, okay. I put that together because I am really like clueless as to why these bomb threats are happening. Now, I can tell you this: when I was on Delaware State's campus, we did have a bomb threat, but that was when 9/11 happened. I happened to be. They always say, "Where were you on 9/11?" I was walking from class back to my dorm, and after elapsed the next day or maybe that evening, we had been getting bomb threats. So we had classes canceled. So that was a reason that, bomb threats were called. I don't know what the reason is in this case.
No, so to say that Deion is responsible for the threats, or that's a stretch. I think the premise of that thought was because Deion Sanders has been influential in creating a buzz and a new normal for high-profile high school students committing to HBCUs to play sports. They were trying to piece that together with saying that maybe people are upset that that's taking place, and because Deion Sanders is the front runner of that movement, his name came up. But it is not that Deion Sanders is they're trying to put Deion Sanders to be responsible, but they're just trying to piece together some type of correlation between the HBCUs all of a sudden being threatened, what have you. So that was the reason why they said that.
Oh, so that's just a bunch of crap. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't run with that. Okay, like I said, I just had, listened, tuned into different platforms, as I usually do throughout the day to see, what's going on. So I'm glad that that's not the case. Okay. But so did y'all hear that President Jeff Zucker, he decided to resign from his position effective immediately at CNN? And this, I didn't even want to talk about this because this was just like, I felt like it was a shadow off Chris Cuomo. I mean, 2 months ago, he had the sexual allegations, and now all of a sudden you want to sit down or resign because you're messing with somebody at the job. And although you knew this person for over 20 years, you knew that it was wrong. So now
I'm so sick of the double standards. I don't know what to do, man.
Right here, you saw me wave my hand.
Yeah, we ain't even giving that no like. Bye.
Well, bye. Anyway, y'all, I think that about does it for us this evening. What you think? All right, let's just. Rudy Giuliani on The Masked Singer. How about that one?
Yeah.
So
that was good.
Root, take that. Tell us what happened, Root.
So, in a nutshell, and then we'll end it after this. But I watched The Masked Singer. So they're taping for the new season, and apparently, the first person to go was Rudy Giuliani. So he pulled the mask up and revealed who he was. And Kim Jong-un, who's a comedian and a doctor, and
that's
Robin Thicke. What's his name?
Is that his name? Kim Jong-un, not the guy over in Korea?
How many? What?
Okay.
What's his name?
I don't know.
Okay, now you got me confused. That's not his name.
I gotta find out.
Beanie would know his name.
That's not his name.
Isn't that kid? I don't think it is either. Now that I said it.
That's not his name.
His name is.
It's Kim Jong.
Okay, I added the last part.
You got the Korean person.
Kim Jong.
Dr. Kim Jong.
Yeah.
He and Robin Thicke stormed off the set because they saw him and like again, dude, you need to be indicted right now. Like, we're not playing games with you, Rudy Giuliani. You don't got time to be on no game show or nothing. You need to be getting your counsel together because January 6th happened and it's going down. We ain't forget. We didn't forget your lies and you and your boy Trump and talking about the election was a scam and all that. We didn't forget all of that. Him being on The Masked Singer is equivalent to Trump being on there, and ain't nobody would have been smiling seeing him. So it ain't no time for games. I'm glad they walked off. I wish all the girls would have walked off too, but again, it's taking a stand. Like, this is not funny. What are you doing here? We're not engaging with you. So I doubt if they show this on a new season, but I would like to see some video footage at least.
Me too. Yeah. I would love to see that, and
I'm glad that they walked off.
I would love to see Giuliani's reaction, and I want to see the women's reaction who stayed on set.
Yeah. They all should have walked off. You're right, Brian. So that's about it. Next week we wear football jerseys.
Yeah.
This dude always want to wear a costume. This was my idea though. I did help, but you could piggyback off me. Little costume. Always want to dress for the occasion. I ain't mad at you though. But y'all, thank y'all for stopping by. It's been
no need for hateration and holleration in this dancery.
No,
that's your girl, MJG.
Right.
That's not even it. That don't have nothing to do with it. Ain't no hating, no.
Go ahead, finish your spill.
Anyway, y'all, appreciate y'all hanging out with us.
I'm gonna keep talking while you do it. Let's see how good you are.
Great energy.
Let's see how good you are.
See y'all next Thursday.
No need for hateration.
Y'all see what I deal with
in this dancery.
And hot topics.
Let's get it percolating. While you waiting,
give us a link to where we can get.
Come on, everybody, get on up.
Y'all pray for me.
Mary J about to get it crunk. Okay, Koko, I see you.
Look, I got this.
Oh, wow.